How do you stop being primed? You don't. Somebody asked me this yesterday, and I figured I would share some of the more interesting tidbits of how you're being primed every moment of every day, all the time, right? When I used to have my center, I would always have a wide assortment of teas and coffee, because I know that if someone is holding a warm cup of coffee, they will rate me as being a warmer individual. They'll just like me more. Temperature matters. People that were raised in a warmer climate versus colder climate, they do the world differently. They communicate very differently, right? Smell matters. I used to always clean my center so there was like a lemony, fresh hint in the background, because research indicates people will clean up after themselves, but more importantly, they'll act more honestly, right? Cleanliness is next to what? Speaking of which, when they had people in a study think of something they were ashamed of, and then half the group was given hand sanitizer and allowed to like wash their hands. Those people were less likely to volunteer to help a graduate student in need. They washed their hands of it. Think about that. So there's so many different ways. The colors on the wall. Have you heard of drunk tank pink? There's a certain shade of pink that has been known to act like a sedative on, violent drunks. I mean, it wears off, they acclimate, but initially they're, in prisons and hospitals, there is a pink room now. That's true. I've been harping on all the different ways to use nature, right? Getting out in nature every day, it primes cognition, creativity, but it boosts your immune system. If you can't get out in nature, bring it in. That too has an effect. And if you can't do that, look out a window to something green. That's been proven to boost creativity and your immune system. And if you can't do that, even photos of trees will have an impact. That's why hospitals are starting to change their artwork, because it has healing effects. We are being primed all the frickin' time. All the time. If you go before a judge right before lunch and they're hungry, you'll get a harsher sentence. Can you fucking imagine? There's so many different ways. If you're sitting on a hard chair, or your clients are, it's harder to change your mind. If you want people to take your petition seriously, then put it on a heavy clipboard, because it lends weight to what you're talking about, to what you're reading. I could go on and on. The trick is, how do you use it, right? Speaking of smells, you want to know how neuromarketers use it? They pipe a different scent in men's department and women's department, because they have figured out what gets you to pull out your credit card. So people are using this. How do you use it, right? How do you set it up, or have your clients set up their environment to prime them for creativity, for motivation? There's all different ways. And that's just, how we can prime the environment. I have barely started to touch how we are priming the world from our own filters, from our own biases, from our own neuro associations. It's fascinating stuff. I'll put some cool books below.